Hello and welcome to our brand new podcasting experience, dubiously titled The Moviebusters. This is a brand new weekly podcast in which we talk about films, and every week we pick a certain theme or movie, and this week we have specifically chosen The Big Lebowski as our film. Mainly that's because of the Coen Brothers' new film Hail Caesar, which we unfortunately missed out on in the Berlinale. So we left it up to you to choose between three popular Coen Brothers films. Those were The Big Lebowski, Lady Killers, and Everywhere Art Thou. That was on our Twitter at the Moviebusters. So in the future, if you want to vote on your film or the film that we do on the next week, then feel free to follow us on Twitter and keep up to date with that, and we'll be posting that in due course. So the unanimous winner was The Big Lebowski, and yes, that was your pick. That was your pick, Dave.
That was my pick.
Congratulations.
Everyone's a bit salty. I won.
I picked Everywhere Art Thou, and Jack picked...
I picked The Lady Killers.
So do you want to talk about why you picked The Lady Killers?
I was going to pick No Country for Old Men at first, but I think that's why I think you got to me quicker, because I think everyone went for the sort of not the massive hits as what they did, because no one picked Fargo, no one picked Inside Llewellyn Davis, so I thought I'd pick an unheard hit, and I quite like. I think The Lady Killers received a critical damnation. Everybody hated it. It's a remake of a classic Alec Guinness, Ealing Studios classic. I mean, it's British heritage. The Americans came in, two directors, quite quirky but quirky characters. And it doesn't at times work, but I think it's quite a good film.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen it, so it's
really unheard. Yeah, it's really unheard of.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think there's very few people who have heard it. I mean, I think more people have seen their debut film, Blood Simple, than they have of The Lady Killers.
Yeah.
But Dave did win unanimously.
I won.
So why did you pick The Big Lebowski?
I picked it because it's my favourite Coen Brothers film. I know it's not, the unique choice or the one that no one's seen or anything like that. Cause I like it because it's great.
Because it's great. That's good. It's a good reason. That's a good reason.
Is it the first Coen Brothers film you ever saw?
It's the first one
I think so.
Really?
It was the first one
I think so.
I don't think it's any. I find that really strange. If it was the first film you'd seen for a Coen Brothers.
It was the first ever one I've seen.
Honestly,
I haven't seen very many Coen Brothers films myself.
Did you watch that purposely knowing it was a Coen Brothers film?
No, I watched it because I thought it was a film about a guy who lost his rug.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what it's about, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
If someone didn't pee on his rug, he wouldn't have done anything.
No, it's a misidentity.
I don't think
it's a misidentity, but if you stripped it down, that is what it's about.
Well, interesting enough, I came dead last. I had 11% at the end of it.
Yeah, I had 26.
I think you had 27%.
Yeah. I picked.
You had 61.
61.
Yeah, so I picked Everywhere Art Thou. I haven't actually seen it, but I thought with Hail Caesar, it's quite a similar cast, isn't it? It's got George Clooney in it. It's got quite a few people in it who are in Hail Caesar. So I thought it'd be quite a good lead on for Hail Caesar. You didn't seem to think that, Twitter audience, so that's a bit of a shame.
You've already got a pre-trained audience though, so that was literally a shot in your foot there, which I quite enjoyed.
Yeah, well, so
only 18 people voted,
which is good.
I think
considering we've not put out a podcast before, that's quite good.
I'm quite glad with that.
And
and none of our friends did it.
No. Nobody who voted knows who we are.
Well, you can't look at the voting, do they, really?
No,
we all retweeted it on our personal accounts, so they might have done sneakily.
I don't think I would have got anyone to do mine.
We haven't defined who we are yet.
Oh, yeah, we haven't, Go on, then, you can go first.
I think the gracious host should go first.
I think
the man who did such a great intro.
I think whoever brought it up should do it.
Well, so I am, as you know me, at Mollipot from YouTube. I occasionally, I made one film video and then decided to cancel my series because I couldn't be arsed.
Was this your Joy review?
Yeah, Joy review.
I'm glad you're on the team.
Yeah, well,
confidence all-time high there.
I'm glad too. I'm also glad because it means that it means I don't know what it means. It means I'm doing something. So I like films quite a lot. Came down to university, decided I'm going to do stuff about films, and I've not really seen many Coen Brothers films myself, but Jack, you've seen quite a few.
I've seen most of their filmography.
Yeah.
So my name's Jack Luke. That's Jack without an actual C. My name.
Crazy.
Yeah, I'm Northern as well, so my family's illiterate. So I've studied film at high school. I studied film at college. I studied film at university. It was ongoing. So we all go to the same university.
Sunny Falmouth.
Yes, really, really nice Falmouth University. Really good university for film. I think it's the second best in the country and the third best in the country.
It's very good.
There's only one or two I think are better than ours. I think Edinburgh Napier is a high standard. I think the other one is Newport.
I didn't look at Newport.
I didn't realise Newport had a uni.
Yeah, well, it's a shit. No, excuse my friend, but it's a shithole, Newport. It's really bad. But yeah, I like film. I mean, I've seen a lot of comic books. I've seen a lot of films in general. And, yeah, just for look at my Twitter. My Twitter is my name. It's Jack Luke Sharp. Sharp without an E, Jack without a C. So you can follow me on there. I wear a Chicago Blackhawks jersey on it. So yeah, that's easy to identify.
The voice you're listening to now is Dave. The sort of comic relief aspect of this podcast, the third member, always get introed last.
If you say so.
I bring a knowledge of British gangster movies and shitty sort of, excuse my French, 80s movies. Something I enjoy.
We will be like in 1 week. Surely we'll be watching something set in the 70s, the 80s. So Dave's knowledge of Thatcherism will be
maybe one day.
My Thatcherism.
Maybe his time will come.
Yeah.
I come with a range of accessories, including knowledge of English Premier League football teams.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be very helpful for our podcast.
That's going to come in great. Also, award-winning iMovie editing software.
Yeah.
2015 won that award. My Twitter is at dmonette1, which is my first letter of my first name and my last name and a 1. Some guy at dmonette1.
There's only one and only.
Yeah, so it will be down in the description, because if you can't spell Monette, most people can't. That's about it. That's my intro. Best one.
If you're having trouble finding our names, like purely because obviously
they'll be in the description.
Yeah, well, the Moviebusters page does follow them as well. The only 3 people they will unfortunately follow purely because it's
yeah.
So
we're biased.
I think we should start with the film
because we haven't got enough followers, isn't it? Really? We could
as of yet.
Yeah.
Right, so we watched the film recently.
Yeah, I watched
more recently than others.
2 hours ago. Yeah.
This guy watched
I've seen it 7 times though before.
We've all watched it before. I've skimmed through it.
How many times have you seen it, Dave?
I've seen it 3 times.
So what?
So I skimmed through it a 4th time when I knew that I won the Twitter poll. I've watched it again.
Yeah. On what have you seen it on DVD? Video?
I watched it on DVD at my mum's house because we got it. I got like a special case or something like that. My dad's a big movie fan, so we got a big setup. I watched it once on my laptop. I think I was on a bus journey.
Yeah.
And then
a weird time to watch the Big Lebowski on a bus journey.
Mate, sometimes you just got to fit movies in whenever you can. That's how you do it. And it wasn't like a public bus; it was a coach. Come on.
Oh right, then that's fair enough.
Right in style. And I can't remember the last time I watched it, mate. I don't know. And then I skimmed through it when I found out I won.
Well, because you're the best.
Fair enough.
That's why, isn't it? I've seen it 3 times. Most recently with my dad, actually.
Oh wow!
Watched it with my dad. I don't know what he thought about it. Cause he's very conservative in his values as a human being. So he said, "Oh yeah, it was all right, wasn't it?" And then didn't really talk about it again. So, but the fact we've all seen it so many times, I think, is quite telling in what kind of film it is. Really, like you notice something every time you come to it.
Well, I think this is my 7th time watching it. I've watched it 6 times on DVD. This is the first time I went out and bought it Blu-ray today. And the first time I watched it on high definition, and I was quite like, I'm not going to say I was like, I'm not indifferent. I didn't like it on Blu-ray. I don't think it works on Blu-ray. I think there's a special feature on the disc, making of, where it's clearly video footage of how it's filmed, and it just looks like really murky. So it has been cleaned, but to say that's been restored in the perfect picture and perfect sound, I think that's a little bit of a hit and miss, to be honest.
Right.
What you're hearing, by the way, if you hear that in the background, is Jack playing with his Blu-ray. He's very proud of that.
I paid £6.60 for it in a deal.
Oh, really?
You talk him down.
I got mine for £2 from CEX.
What did you pay? So you bought it on Blu-ray?
Yeah, I bought it on Blu-ray.
I mean, we brand dropping now.
Well, it's all right.
Don't get into legal,
Well, don't get into that. No. Well, yeah. I mean, I can't actually remember what it was like, to be honest. Like, I mean, my previous experience of it was kind of like a lot worse than Blu-ray. So I mean, I kind of went into it without many expectations on what it should be like. I will say though, the visuals of the film are a massive part of it. Like, cinematography is amazing, especially like the bowling kind of sequences and the dream sequences. Yeah, I'm a massive fan of it.
Well, I think we should get that into it when it comes to it. So overall, what are your first thoughts of the film then?
I think as a comedy, I think it blows any other comedy out of the water. Personally.
Okay.
And that is down to the fact
that's a big claim.
That is a big claim.
In the way it does it, I think, is that it's not in itself a comedy.
Okay.
It's the way the characters bounce off of each other, and it kind of creates the comedy itself from the situations. And if you look at any other kind of comedy that like now, like any like massive comedies, the jokes are all kind of forced and not necessarily character driven. And what I like about it is you can go into it every time, and you can, like at the start, don't necessarily know much about the characters, and then you kind of they become more funny watching again because you realise at the start, oh, that bit's quite funny because that character's like this, and you kind of the way the characters are written, they're written in a way where they get like you notice more things about what's happening, and especially like one of my favourite characters in the film is Philip Seymour Hoffman's character.
Oh yeah, excellent.
He's hilarious.
Yeah, he's really good in it.
Yeah, absolutely hilarious.
It's really a shame because he is on. I think he's got about 2.5 minutes of screen time.
Yeah,
and as well as
I think a little bit more than that, surely.
No,
it's
every time that there's
really
the Big Lebowski,
but he's on there. But remember, he's on there for seconds as well.
I guess, yeah.
He does like, especially when Bonner, who we'll get into a little bit later, I think, proposes the offer to the dude, Jeff Bridges' character. That there where he does that laugh, and I've seen it quite a few times, but it always makes me like chuckle inside. Not even if I'm not gonna usually show it. I think it is quite funny. So
I think there's always going to be something you can go back to and think, and like there's always a reason you can go back to this film.
Yeah, it's got so much. Like, it's got definite replay value.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, even if it's not it's not unusual suspect.
I think it's a kind of classic kind of Coen Brothers film for that because they're so well known for the characters.
Well, it's not a usual suspect. You don't go back into it because you've missed something like so blatant or something so like covert. It's over. I think that you just go watch it because you enjoy it.
It's not really a plot film, is it? It's about the characters.
Yeah, it's a character-driven film.
Yeah, definitely. I think that most of the supporting characters that scene steal it.
Yeah,
I think most of them do. Yeah,
you said earlier, Jesus.
Yeah, I can't pronounce his last name. It's John.
I don't even know what his second name is. I just know Jesus on his jersey. Yeah.
It's on the case. It's John Toronto.
Because he's
that guy.
I've seen he made a film not long ago with Woody Allen in it. I can't remember what it was called.
I can't see him as any other character after watching, I think, Transformers 2.
Well,
after watching that and I think he was in Transformers 2. Seeing that, like, just a crazy guy. He's just typecasted. I don't think he is an actor. I just think they got a crazy guy off the street, but like put him in front of a camera.
What?
It's the same with
the Big Lebowski?
Yeah. But no. The guy, as in the guy. I don't think he just is a crazy guy. They filmed. You know, Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
The Tuco guy in that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He was also in Training Day, and he plays the exact same character.
Yeah.
That's how I always see Tuco. Whenever I see him in anything, he's not an actor. He's literally just a crazy guy that they got in front of a camera.
Well, do you like that then, or do you think it takes away from his performance then? Because then you give credit to the actor then.
Yeah, the actor definitely, because he can play those types of characters.
Well, how he must have literally 5 minutes of screen time
in the film. Yeah.
Well, he turns up like 3 times.
I think there's one big scene when he
the first introduction of him. It's quite
prolonged.
Yeah, it's quite prolonged.
It's like a very slow motion sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's in 2 scenes, 2 or 3. Where
I think he's in 3.
I think
there's one major one,
where
the beginning and the end, and there's one little one in the middle. Yeah.
The one I think where he says he's going to empty a clip of ammo into his ass.
Yeah.
And then there's intro.
I was trying to remember the line.
Well, I mean, I have always found it as like an interesting character study. I mean, it's not a character study as Heat is, the Michael Mann film. That's like 2 hours and 45 minutes of character development until we get this final payoff.
There's no real character development.
They're all quirky. That's what it is.
That's
you always go back to it because it's quirky. I think that's what it is.
If you put all like these individual characters into different films, or you put them into different situations, it wouldn't necessarily be funny.
I agree.
Like if you look at, especially Donnie. He's absolutely hilarious.
Well, the reason why he didn't say anything in that film is like the Coen Brothers are on record of that. I mean, have you seen Fargo? Fargo came before that.
Yeah. I've seen the film. Yeah.
In the film, he doesn't.
They wanted him in a camera role, didn't they? Something like that.
No, because in Fargo he talks all the time.
Yeah.
So in this one, in Miller's Crossing, I think Miller's Crossing he talks a lot as well.
Yeah.
They put him in this role because obviously the joke "Shut the fuck up, Donnie" by Walter.
Yeah.
It's always like an in joke because.
Oh yeah.
Buscemi, obviously the actor, talks in both the films quite rapidly. So this is to slow him down.
Yeah.
But I do like Donnie. I think the scene stealer though is John Goodman.
Yeah.
John Goodman is so good in this film.
So we were discussing this. This is more of a outside Moviebusters thing. Mm-hmm. We were discussing because there's 3 guys in the film. There's 3 of us.
3 main characters, yeah. Well
3 guys. You know the sort of the gang.
The trio, yeah.
The trio.
Gang, yes.
The gang.
Yeah.
That's what we like to call it. And there's 3 of us. We were discussing the character basis after you said that John Goodman's the show stealer.
Yeah,
we're discussing this.
Is this going where I think it's going? Like...
This is going where you think it's going. We were discussing this, and we all agreed that Rob, the guy over here, he's Donnie and then you are the dude.
Yeah, because I'm quite mellow, but then when like I'll get worked up like a lot, and I'll moan a lot when my neck pisses me off.
Yeah, you moan a lot just generally. Mate.
I don't moan a lot. I don't moan a lot.
And
That's such a false
I
accusation.
think what you've got to say.
Well, you're moaning now about that.
I'm not, yeah, because you've annoyed me. Continue though.
This is
Thanks.
should have fucked up, Danny. We got it right.
I think
up, Rob.
we all agreed that I'm.
Unanimously, yeah.
And,
yeah.
I said this before anyone agreed it because I just know that someone's going to say it. But I think what we should discuss is how do we all feel about being typecasted as characters?
So I think like to be described as one of these characters, I think it's a good thing because as much as they've all got little like they have got little annoying parts. Like Walter's quite aggressive sometimes. Like the dude is so lethargic, it's quite like it's quite annoying. And then but like in this world that is, and then Donnie can like self-describe quite annoying. Yeah. But I think there's something so like I don't think there's one bad bone between them. I think they're all quite genuine sort of like characters in it. I don't think that.
I don't know about that, man.
You don't think
I think they're genuine. They're all out in the open. But when you say there's no bad bone between them, I mean,
no, I don't
bites
mean
a guy's beard off.
No, I don't.
Beard, sorry, ear.
Yeah, no. I mean, yeah, but he does it in self-defense because he's had enough. I mean,
but I mean,
he does come at him
all had a couple of scraps
with their fucking sword or a katana.
No. He throws the bowling ball at that guy. Yeah. The other guy comes over. No. Flea.
Either way,
thrown by the.
Either way, I think we can agree he's a bit scary. I think it's a bit someone you wouldn't want to mess with.
Also, it's quite clear that he suffers from PTSD, isn't it?
PTSD, yeah.
Yeah, and it isn't like in any way sort of isn't mentioned in any sort of passing. I quite enjoy that because then it becomes something like. It's very like Taxi Driver. It's very Travis Bickle like, but it isn't. It's sort of that person who is.
It kind of is mentioned, but not like exclusively. When
he's
always referring to like when I was in Nam, even in like Donnie's funeral, he's like talking about Nam and stuff. Like I think it's quite like brutal but funny. Like I really do like that.
I think the real question is how does Rob feel
about being with Donnie?
Donnie being typecast as the guy that we sort of, to pardon my French, we shit on.
Well. So long as I don't have a heart attack, I don't mind, really. Like,
wow. Well, I think that's what we should come on to, like, having, what did you enjoy about the film, then?
I think, as we're saying, with, like, how everyone identifies with a character, I think that's quite interesting to why it became a cult film.
Yeah.
Because...
Well, when it was released, it did come... like, they didn't know what to think of it, because they did just get... I think Fargo came out, and Fargo was Oscar nominated for 7 Academy Awards. Yeah. And then after the Fargo, which is unanimously acclaimed by mostly every critic... Yeah. They came out with a film about a man's rug being stolen, which is basically, one of the most. It's like when Paul Thomas Anderson made, I believe it's Magnolia, and someone asked, and someone asked him, "What are you going to do next?" And he said, "I'm going to make a comedy with Adam Sandler," and everyone just laughed, and he was like, "No, I'm going to make that." And then he made Punch Drunk Love, which is one of my personal favourite films. Romantic films.
I think a lot of people would agree with you there.
What was the comedy made with Adam Sandler?
Punch Drunk Love.
Oh, right. Okay.
It's very good. I think that could be a future episode, I think.
So speaking of identifying characters, I think that I don't think necessarily you can identify with everybody because it is in such like a quirky atmosphere. Like I can never see myself in the position of the dude in Julianne Moore's Maud's house. That's just one of them things where it's out of body experience.
I think I watched it with Kelly as well, and she identified most. Well, didn't identify with, but her favourite character was Maud.
Which Julianne Moore, I must admit, does scene steal them scenes.
Yeah, she's very good.
I think she's really good in that.
I think her role as well. It's not. It might seem it initially. She's not like offensive in any way to that kind of type of person either. She's very like she's just straight to the point about what she wants to do. Especially like there's a scene when she like gets pregnant just because she wants a baby with dude. It's like, well, I just want a child. I don't want any connection to it. She's very like her character. She knows what she wants. She knows where she wants to go with what she's doing, and she just does it. I think that's quite powerful character, really.
Yeah, I mean, like, do you know when the dude first goes into an apartment or a room? Yeah, and she flies past him, she comes down, and her bum's out. Yeah. All that's prosthetic. It's not it's not a bum. It's all prosthetic.
Interesting to know.
So what did you think of what did you enjoy about the film then?
I particularly enjoyed the scene where he gets punched. I know it sounds like kind of bad.
Is that when he goes into the?
This is very it goes into his dream world, and he's flying along where he goes like da la 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 la.
Yeah.
That bit I really love. That
is this
bit.
by Maud's henchman?
Yes, when they steal the rug back.
Okay, yeah.
That bit is world class. It's been parodied so many times.
Yeah.
It's a world class scene. I love that bit because it just reminds me of just amazing stuff. It's a great time.
Yeah. I mean,
it doesn't happen.
I think that it is like it's one of the. It is in my opinion. I think it's very noir and it's working.
Yeah.
I think it is a protective. It's a private eye film. Like essentially, like if you look at Casablanca or you look at something like Chinatown, they're quite dark films and quite dark atmosphere.
They aim for realism as well.
Yeah, this is more like the light-hearted version of that, where we don't necessarily like. It's not shouted out to us. It is simply like.
I think the big thing with the Coen Brothers, a lot of their films, they'll be in the same world, but not necessarily the same world as what we live in. It's like a kind of almost like a parallel kind of world of like different kind of characters we couldn't imagine in our universe. But it is in our universe.
So it's grounded. Definitely. It's grounded to a reality, isn't it?
I think you could definitely assume that there are 3 people out there playing bowling in a league that do this.
The dude is based off of a real person.
Jeff Stinsky, isn't it?
Yeah, someone that they know who's called himself the dude. So it is like actually based off a person, but it's just Coen Brothers are such amazing writers that they've made this kind of world which we couldn't possibly imagine, but it is set inside that world.
I mean, another thing I like, I don't think Matt has mentioned. I think the soundtrack is fabulous as well.
Yes,
I love the opening with Bob Dylan, "The Man in Me." I think that's an excellent opening. I love the Kenny Rogers just dropped in to see what condition my condition was in, and the second dream sequence when it's the porn parody.
Oh yeah.
That's I think the porn, not the porn parody, but I think both dream sequences split the film up in an excellent way.
Yeah,
like it slows the pace down to a point where it feels it's not quick. It's not very slow, but it still doesn't pace it up quicker.
Yeah,
it's a nice little break from like the sense of reality. Plus, it's another thing we could just see, especially in the second when he's at Jackie Treehorn's house.
Yeah,
and he comes back and he's running down the freeway. The police are behind him. We could have just seen that, and we could have just got that away. But for added dramatic effect, we have Maud in it. We have the bowling pins. He looks up the girl's skirts and stuff.
Yeah.
Adds more to the characters.
His fucking facials and that are hilarious.
The face in that, yeah.
Well, I watched the making of how they filmed that.
I think I've seen.
Yeah, and apparently Jeff Bridges' shoulders were so broad they had to thin him in. So it's like that. But like it's all CGI, so it's really good.
Oh, it's interesting.
It's quite interesting.
Yeah.
What you're saying as well about the dude's character, I was reading over your shoulder when you were on your IMDb facts.
Which I don't always read. I just know.
Yeah. I wasn't saying that all your facts come from IMDb.
I was just clarifying points to see if I was right.
Either way. It's very interesting. I thought initially, which I never thought about before, but when I was looking at this little fact that was on your screen. Where the fuck does all his money come from? Because he's...
Oh, I read this, yeah.
And apparently, the Coen Brothers actually...
It's in an early script, isn't it?
In an earlier script.
Did you know this? That's what he's going to talk
about. No, I've got no idea what he's talking about.
In an earlier script, the dude had actually... he inherited the Rubik's Cube company from his father or something like that.
Yeah.
Really?
So,
yeah, but they dropped it out because they didn't want to know where his money came from.
Yeah. So I honestly really liked that, but obviously it was taken out and... They brought in the landlords and for his fucking interpretive dance thing, where literally just all of his tenants turned up.
Yeah,
I love that.
I mean, I like all the supporting characters. Not much not to find negatives in it. I think
there is a single character in there I can say is a weak character.
Even with Jackie Treehorn, how many minutes is he in there? And we still know he's a vile creature.
Yeah. He treats subjects like women, man.
Yeah, I think Peter Stormare, who plays the nihilist, the main nihilist in it.
Yeah.
Who we see early in the film with a JD bottle in the pool.
Yeah.
I think he's a Coen Brothers regular. He's in Miller's Crossing. He's in Fargo as well. I think he's in Miller's Crossing.
Yeah, I think it's definitely Fargo.
And I think they write for these sort of people. I think they're just excellent. I think like how he does it is really well done.
The casting's probably one of the best things about this film.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. We also like how it's shot as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, cinematography is
Roger Deakins as well. British native. Yeah.
Because when they say like I don't know this fully, but I'm sure you do. Like the bowling scenes, they only wanted those because they wanted to kind of like have these kind of like slow motion.
Well,
shots.
how they filmed that is they got a more controlled car.
Yeah,
that could go about 20 miles an hour. So when the balls would go in, it would speed up and would obviously follow the bowling balls into the alleyway.
That's insane.
Yeah, I think it's really good. I think I think it will stand the test of time.
Well, it definitely already has. It's nearly 20 years old now, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, that
bonkers.
Is it? Yeah, it's 1998. Yeah.
Oh, right. 1998. I thought it was It was like 2002 or something like that, but
No, that's what Oh Brother Where Art Thou is. Isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
2 to 3, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that. I haven't seen it.
I think out of the 3 films we picked, it was the oldest on their filmography.
when did Lady Killers come out?
Ladies was 2004.
Oh, really?
No,
I
the
thought
that was older than this.
No, the Ealing Classic Studios like 1960.
I guess that's why I thought it was older as well, because it's like there's obviously space off the original, isn't it?
I mean, there's not many people in that film who are Coen Brothers
regulars.
Yeah, I don't think so.
John
Not in the Lady Killers.
Oh, Lady Killers.
In this, yeah, you've got John Goodman, you've got Steve Buscemi.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they wrote Steve Buscemi and John Turturro's character.
Yeah.
Toronto, sorry.
Got it.
They were written in mind.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I think Jeff Bridges was offered a role, but I don't know how you can not. I don't think anyone else could. I think as much as I like Jeff Bridges in it, I don't think anyone else. I think someone else could have played that character.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
I don't think so.
No.
Do you know the wardrobe is all his as well? The jelly sandals are his.
Really?
Yeah. He owns all the wardrobe.
I think Jeff Bridges owns that role. I
think
think
he's good in it.
When you look, if you can name me 3 actors that could have done that role at that time, I'll give you. I don't know. I'll give you a small medal.
Right. I think Dustin Hoffman could have played that really well.
No, don't believe that at all.
I think Dustin Hoffman could have played that really well.
Graduate.
I think another Coen Brothers regular. I think that George Clooney, to some degree, could have played that role. Yeah, George Clooney's played that sort of.
I'm going to go back to the Dustin Hoffman thing. I think Dustin Hoffman's too excitable to play that role. I think Jeff Bridges gives that sort of mellow vibe.
Okay.
Where when you look at it, another role,
don't get me wrong, he's good in it. I really enjoy him.
I think Jeff Bridges looks like someone who doesn't give a fuck as well.
He owns the role. He owns the role.
Even his appearance, he just looks like someone who's.
I'm striking Dustin Hoffman off your list.
I think Hoffman
George Clooney, no. George Clooney's not that sort of mellow sort of guy.
I think George Clooney could have.
I think he maybe could have
the big Jeffrey Lebowski.
Yeah.
I don't believe that either.
I think he could have definitely.
Yeah.
Go on, keep going with your list, mate. I'm going to shit on all of them.
So I picked 2, didn't I?
Yeah, George Clooney and dude.
I have a feeling that De Niro could have done it, but I don't think
De Niro.
De Niro.
I don't think De Niro could have done it.
Right.
I think Michael Keaton would have been quite good in that. That's about it. I don't think anyone else would have been able to do it. I think that
Michael Keaton is probably your best shout.
Yeah, but I think
Michael Keaton at that point, he didn't have. He was kind of getting some weird roles at that point, wasn't he?
Yeah, but his wife was really ill, wasn't she?
Yeah, that's the thing.
I mean, what did he did? He did the Batman Returns in '92, didn't he?
I mean,
that's one of my favourite Batmans, just because of one scene. Is that the one with Jack Nicholson in it?
No, that's the first one. That's Batman.
Yeah.
Batman, the first one.
Batman Returns is
it's the one with Arnold.
Yeah.
Is it,
no, that's Batman Forever. Batman DeVito, yeah.
DeVito's the Penguin, yeah.
Yeah, and then you've got what's his face, Christopher Walken as in that film as well.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah.
But going back to the Batman thing,
okay.
My favourite thing out the whole Batman of Michael Keaton is the fact how he's in this scene as Bruce Wayne. I think he's not dressed up, and the Joker's there, and he's just sort of talking calmly and all that, and then he just smashes his vase and he goes, "You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts," or something like that. That's one of my favourite scenes.
He's in Kim Basinger's apartment in that scene. Yeah,
that was amazing.
And he pretends to die or something, and that but get shot and he disappears.
Anyway, Big Lebowski.
Okay.
Interesting anecdotes and baffling, mate. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, my original point was I just don't think that anyone could have done that role except John Goodman. I think John Goodman.
No, you said that anyone could have played that role.
No, that was Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges.
Oh, Jeff
as
Bridges.
a dude.
Well,
think John Goodman? No one could play that role.
John Goodman. This is John Goodman's personal favourite film of his own.
Yeah,
and I think
I 100% agree with you.
I think I think he's excellent in Barton Fink. He's so good in that film. I mean, you two haven't seen that.
I haven't seen it yet. No.
Another cool transfer by Universal as well, man.
No, I haven't seen it.
So never Coen.
But that's about it. That's all it's got.
That's one of the first Coen Brothers films, isn't it?
It's 91, that film.
Yeah.
This film is set in 91 as well, which I find really strange.
It's set in the same time. Really? Interesting.
No. Barton Fink is set in the 30s.
Oh, no. I was going to say.
You said this was also set in, so I got confused.
Oh, I was like, no, because it came out in 91. So another positive I found, I do really like the script. The script's by the Coen Brothers themselves. It's so unique and so stellar. I think that you could break it down and say, well, these are three friends who just hate each other, but they have a love sort of hate relationship. But I don't think that gives an attribution to it. I think that these characters come together so well. I think it's so sort of like you can so quote it, like shut the fuck up, Donna.
That's your opinion, man.
Yeah, like, life does not stop and start at your convenience, you miserable piece of shit. Which to this day nobody really knows why he said that, because it doesn't fit in with the actual script.
It's never explained why he hates Donnie.
Well, he doesn't say it to Donnie though, because Donnie doesn't speak. And this is what's up with Walter, dude. And they always stop and start. Like the script is quite heavily improvised because I've read interviews where they've said that Jeff Bridges will mumble a little bit and go, that's to think about what he's going to say next to the characters. So I don't understand why John Goodman says that.
There's a lot of that as well with Jeff Bridges in the film. He's kind of like stumbling over.
That's sort of his character actually, because he does that a lot in Tron Legacy, and he does that a lot in quite a few films. I mean, this is considered one of the number one.
But it says on the box, doesn't it?
Well, I was going to come up to that.
Okay.
I'm looking at this Blu-ray that you got, and it says by the Boston Globe that this is the number one cult film of all time. And an opinion-based question. I'd like to go around and see, do you think this is the number one cult film of all time? If not, what is? Talk to me.
I think it's definitely got a shout. But
as the number one cult film of all time.
It is a high title to be given.
It's definitely a high title. That's the thing I was going to get into. I don't think it is the number one cult. I don't think it's the number one cult film of all time. So I think cult films as a medium, they mean a lot more than rather than just being like. It might mean a number one cult film in terms of quality, maybe, but we don't. I think that's all subjective, and film's subjective in the first place.
Yeah, I agree.
I think number one cult film of all time, almost undoubtedly.
In your opinion?
In your opinion,
no,
yeah.
As in popularity-wise, I'm talking. Like,
yeah, but
that's debatable.
The point of a cult film is that it. I don't do cult film at university.
Yeah, we need to
the two other guys
this,
do.
Yeah,
but isn't the point of a cult film is that it didn't make much money, or that it's got sort of. I don't know how to say it. It's not a popular sort of film.
It's weird how
it can be
it's
popular.
defined. Yeah.
But
because you would define, sorry to interrupt, but to define that you say not made a lot of money. The Coen brothers don't necessarily make money with their films. It's like with Kubrick. Kubrick's an auteur. He's a great director. I don't think Kubrick in one film, for Warner Brothers that is, made budget back. I don't think he even made his budget back. He was never in profit.
A lot of his films, people look back on and say that's amazing, but they just never necessarily know whether like when he came out, it's really popular.
Is it the Boston Globe, Dave?
Yeah, Boston Globe. Yeah, that's what it says.
That's a big claim to make a number one cult
film. That's one thing with just like companies who put things. On DVDs,
we study cult film.
Yeah,
and my personal opinion, I would not say this is. I think it is a sturdy cult film.
Like I was saying, though, I think out of popularity, I think Rocky Horror Picture Show is the most.
Okay.
And that's because if you ask some random person on the street, name a cult film, I reckon like majority of the time they'll be saying Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Or piss off.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
Yeah. Well, either way.
Shoehorned in there, Dave.
So I thought I'd shoot a quote in.
So what was your opinion would be?
I'm not saying it's because it's a good film. Even though I personally enjoyed Rocky Horror Picture Show. You didn't like it, did you?
I was so indifferent to it. I didn't hate it. I appreciated it. I can imagine that. I just felt like a really good Mel Brooks film with singing. And I don't really like musicals. I never liked musicals.
I mean, I don't like musicals either. Like, my mum shoehorns me into like going to so many like fucking musicals that she likes. Like, I went to theatre as well as films.
I watched Guys and Dolls at the theatre, and I must admit I did enjoy it when I was really young.
I went to the cinema to see Mamma Mia. I went to see Les Miserables at the cinema.
And you're still getting psychiatric help for that.
Yeah, I'm still getting psychiatric.
I've got to say, I quite like theatre. I know this is quite like an unmasculine thing to do.
What you say theatre?
I say theatre. I went with my mum a couple of times.
Are you on about theatres and the musicals? Are you on about a play?
I'm on about a bit of both. From what I've gone to,
that's
with my
a musical.
What I've got to with my mum, I guess it is a musical. My mum sort of drags me to these where we live. They do sort of these representations of film. I think I went to go watch Footloose done by my town.
Oh God!
Yeah, and I was sat there, and the first thing I said to my mum was because there was a lot of kids in the audience. Yeah, and I'm not saying right, but it's a town sort of production. It must have been their dads and their mums sort of in there. I said to my mum, I was like, I hope this has got like my sort of humour. It's based for kids, but it's like got a couple of adult jokes and stuff.
Yeah, and
it obviously did, and I loved it because it was. I felt like I was appreciated as a sort of teenage man.
Did you like going to the pantomime when you were younger?
I don't think I ever went.
Pantomime's very different to a musical theatre, though, isn't it?
But it's in its essence, it's very musical, and it's
pantomime.
It's theatre. It's
the things
played
I love.
As a theatre.
I love the ones where they go like, "He's behind you," and they go, "Oh no, it's not." And I start screaming, "He's behind you."
There is musical numbers in pantomime. No, there is that kind of thing. It's the interaction. I guess that's what sets it apart, isn't it?
That's why going back. It comes shoehorn back into the Rocky Horror Picture Show, isn't there?
Yeah,
there's something about it that you can quote it. But I don't know. I think
that's what we learned about that.
I don't think there's a number one. I think you can. I think it can just be categorized as a cult film. I think
it can definitely be cult. Yeah, definitely.
Surely again, to stress, I don't do cult film as a part of my degree, but surely the point of a cult films is that you can't name one as the number one cult film. Surely the cult film comes under a sector. Surely every single film that is a cult film should be recognised as a cult film and not be in the sort of the top 10 of all-time great movies.
Arguably, you could call anything a cult film if you
No, you couldn't. No, you couldn't.
That does not sound right.
You couldn't. You couldn't call it. No, you couldn't. No, you couldn't, Rob.
There's always got a contextual understanding to what film was released, like the way it was released. There's always going to be some people somewhere who kind of they all collectively enjoyed the film and they'll rewatch it.
This is my point. Though. Is Iron Man a cult film?
It could be considered a cult film.
I don't know how it could be.
I'd like to.
I do cult film. Well, we do cult film.
I don't do cult film. Inform me. How can Iron Man be known as a cult film?
I don't think it can be. Just in pure thing because in no way you're talking about prehistorical context. Well, Robert Downey Jr. was the film that saved his career. He was a drug addict, an alcoholic, whatever he was. And obviously, it got the role of a lifetime, and it's made him millions off it.
Yeah, I'll tell you why I think it could be considered a cult film.
Okay,
and that's because a big part of cult film is that a lot of groups of people who share similar interests will go and see it. If a group of Marvel enthusiasts, people who love Iron Man, go and see it, they'll go and see it, and they'll notice all these things with people who go and see it who don't necessarily know that thing about Iron Man. They'll notice things about Iron Man, but like, oh, that's from the comics and such a comic and this issue and this edition from this year. That is a cult element to that film. That is something where people will exclusively have something that other, like normal audiences would go to and not necessarily.
But isn't that a pre-intended audience?
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Isn't that because someone likes a superhero film, they'll go for a superhero film?
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's still.
How does that make that a cult film, though?
I think, and what I'm saying is, it doesn't necessarily make it a cult film. I think cult film as a label is quite loose. It's not necessarily. It doesn't You can't say that's definitely a cult film.
It's a whole argument about how you can categorise what art is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And there's someone out there who does it. Public opinion swears to that sort of answer, and then we all sort of attain that judgment of it, which I think is so ridiculous.
And when you look at that kind of discussion, you kind of realise if you kind of think about it plainly, you realise it's kind of bullshit because there's no right answer, there's no wrong answer.
I can
So to say that it's the number one cult film of all time
is a bold statement.
It's a bold statement, and it's kind of like it's almost like a kind of clickbait statement. It's kind of thing you think, oh, okay, it's the best cult film of all time, but you don't necessarily know much about cult films yourself. So
it does state before it says not the accusation, but the statement.
Yeah,
experience the cultural phenomenon.
Yeah, but that's not the quote from the Boston Globe. The Boston Globe quote is just the line number one film.
Precisely. So
that's been written by the people that made whoever produced the movie.
Let's go into because you obviously know a lot about the history of this film. Why is this a cult film?
I think before we go into that, I'd like to go back to a point where Jack made earlier, saying that the Coen brothers, whatever films they don't gross a lot.
Yeah.
But why we did this podcast on the Coen brothers, the 3 films we picked, was because Hail Caesar's coming out.
Yeah, Hail Caesar just got released.
I think it's just been released.
Yeah, it's been.
Yeah, I don't think any of us have seen it yet.
I haven't seen it yet.
We missed out on it because we all went to Berlin Film Festival.
Yeah,
we missed out because they got
They got
66.
They got sold out. I think in the first 10 seconds.
I think
So it was ridiculous. There was a room of 60 people of us, and I imagine a good fucking percentage of people.
I could say 80% of it.
I reckon about 90.
And one person in that room got tickets.
I think he sold it on as well.
Did he?
Did he?
So. I think he
did.
did.
I have done that.
That's
but what I wanted to bring up was that you said that Coen brothers don't gross a lot of film.
Yeah.
I believe that Hail Caesar. I'm not going to.
Should we have a bet here? Because I feel like a bet's going on.
No, because I feel like I think it's already grossed more than its budget.
Well, yeah.
But I can't. I think I saw it on IMDb the other day, but I can't remember.
I wouldn't be shocked by that because
when I looked at it,
but is it going to be a top grossing film of all time?
I think when I looked at it, I don't think it's going to be a top grossing film of all time. But I think when you said that Coen brothers don't gross a lot, I mean, does anyone know how much the budget was for The Big Lebowski?
It must have been in the millions, but it would
not
be
a fair amount of that cast.
It would have been I think it wouldn't have been big.
I don't know how much the budget is for Hail Caesar because it's got quite a big cast. Chen Tatum, George Clooney,
Jonah Hill.
John Hill looks like he's only going to be in it for about 5
Scarlett
minutes.
Johansson as well.
Scarlett Johansson, Josh Brolin.
Josh Brolin.
There's big stars that they've put into this film.
Ralph Fiennes, isn't it?
Ralph Fiennes, yeah.
I think they will gross more. I think they're going to be. I don't think it will get to Deadpool, Star Wars sort of era, but I think it will gross more than you think it will.
You see, that's an interesting point Dave makes, because Dave's just said that because you made that point. Sorry, forgive me, Dave. That you said that because it's a name, isn't it? The Coen Brothers.
Yeah.
Before the Big Lebowski, they had just won nominated for 7 Oscars at the Academy Awards for Fargo.
Yeah.
Surely this would have made money then to see what they've done next.
But then you look at
I think this won an Academy Award.
You're looking at that in hindsight as well. That's the thing.
It didn't.
It does say. Oh, it says from Academy Award winning Coen Brothers. Yeah. I don't think this actually won an Academy Award.
You are looking at that in hindsight as well. Though. If you look at Coen Brothers, then how many films did they release when they released this?
Well, for example, let's look at Alejandro Inarritu's filmography.
Yeah. Birdman
won tons of Oscars.
Amazing.
Best Picture.
So I've recently watched Birdman for the first time, and whilst I was watching it, Jack, I posted on Twitter saying, "Now watching Birdman." You know, as film students sort of do.
Yeah,
good film.
We do it to sort of, and whilst I posted that, I was watching it, and Jack tweeted at me saying that he hasn't got through it yet because he watched it on, I think, a plane.
I watched it on a KLM flight, which was a Netherlands airline. And I was on the way to Chicago. I watched I didn't even watch 40 minutes. I watched 20 minutes. I got it where just about the talking with Zach Galifianakis in the studio lights, and something happens.
Yeah. And
I turned it off because I couldn't do it. But that's not necessarily to say that it was mine.
You're watching a fucking plane.
Yeah, it's a screen that's not as much as big as an iPad.
Does anyone know how many Oscars Birdman won?
It won Best Picture.
A lot.
Did it win Best Cinematography?
Yeah, it did. No, it didn't. No, did it?
Who won Best Cinematography
sure.
that year?
Well, what came out last year?
Well, no, it's 2014 it came out.
It didn't win Best Cinematography because... No, it could have done.
Cinematography in that film is amazing. I know
I know a lot of people...
That director sort of...
It's Emmanuel Lubezki.
It's like the motif, isn't it?
Emmanuel Lubezki, that's who's nominated.
A lot of people would disagree with you, but I think we, as a collective of this group, I think we all enjoyed that cinematography.
I think it's amazing, Birdman. I don't want to spoil it for anyone that hasn't watched it or has watched it. It's going to get through to it.
Yeah.
But the ending of it is so open to what has actually happened to this guy that I just find it quite amazing. It's like the ending to Inception. I know it's going off topic here, but the ending to it. I know that you don't like the ending to Inception.
No, because I can understand that. Many people don't understand Inception. I can explain that film in one thing. I'll just say it quickly. The whole point of that film is that Christopher Nolan states, it's 6 years ago now. Surely people have seen that he states that you can't remember the opening of a dream. In all the film, you will never show the opening of a dream.
That's true.
Yeah. So at the end, when he wakes up on the plane, we see that, proving the fact that it isn't a dream.
I disagree.
No, but if you place
I think
the
interpretation that I got from the ending of that, where he's spinning the tabletop thing,
which he does fall with Memento.
Yeah, no, you say it falls, but what I believe is that the whole point of the film is that you dream what you want to dream, or something like some dream bollocks.
Yeah,
let your dreams be dreams.
But I feel like the ending is he sees his kids. It's the first time he's seen them in like 10 loads of years.
I think it's
a long
time. Yeah.
A long time. He sees them, and he runs towards them. He doesn't look back to see if it's a dream or not. But my interpretation of it was that he's seen his kids for the first time in ages, and he loves them that much that he doesn't care if it's a dream or not. That's the reason he walks away without seeing it. And if it is a dream, or if it isn't a dream, whatever, the reason that it sort of halts a little bit or stops is because he wants that to be reality.
So you're saying it's more of a character study rather than the logistics of what an actual dream is?
Exactly.
Yeah. I like
the whole point of the film is about logistics of dream, isn't it?
Yeah. Well,
because he could film that film and not make any sort of rules, but we are told the rules.
That's an inconsistency.
Is it? Don't give Christopher Nolan discredit about that, because he's a very intellectual, probably right there.
Yeah.
Right there.
I mean, when he made fucking
Memento,
Interstellar as well, he actually funded research into black holes, and they discovered more.
So I think going down that route and going down that sort of credibility, I think that becomes a dead end, because I think that he's a lot smart. He's very smart. He's a very intellectual director.
He was quite peeved, wasn't he, as well, with Interstellar, that it didn't get flawless reviews. A lot of people.
Yeah, there's a lot of problems with sound in that.
Because his new film coming out, it doesn't look like a Christopher Nolan film.
Harry Styles, may I add, from One Direction, has been offered a role in Dunkirk.
Doesn't look like
I don't know what Dunkirk is.
Does not look like a
new
Nolan
epic
film.
World War II film.
Doesn't look like a Nolan film.
Harry Styles.
How do you know it hasn't started filming?
It doesn't look like.
Interesting.
Yeah, but you classic when you look at Christopher Nolan's filmography, it's all very thriller-esque, kind of very that seems interesting. Memento, Interstellar, all these kind of names
I don't know.
I know I'm categorising it by its name, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be a classic Christopher Nolan film.
But going back to what Dave was on about having an open ending about Birdman and talking about like how we do this. I don't think that's relevant.
I think I want to talk about it, but you haven't seen it, and I don't want to spoil the ending for you.
Okay, I think we've gone on a bit of tangent here as well. Like...
Right, so we'll go. I think it's best now to go on to the negatives.
The negatives of
the Big Lebowski.
Okay,
yeah,
go on.
Right,
you start off then.
This is gonna piss quite a lot of people off, right? But I still, to this day, I don't understand why it's given an 18 certificate.
Because there is a lot of swearing in it, and I think they're...
No, it's like in the hundreds of the amount of times it says fuck.
I think they're quite self I don't know how to say it, but they know that they're swearing lots. That's when the stranger is. I think his name is the stranger in the film.
By Sam Elliott.
He's like, dude, like, you're a cool guy and all that, but why do you swear so much? Tone it down a little bit. And he goes like, what the fuck do you mean? I feel like that's a message to Hollywood saying, why should I not swear enough?
Yeah, I disagree because I think that you can F as much times as you want to in a film in the context of the film. Like he's not just saying because he can do, he's saying it because he's telling someone to shut up. So it says it constrain strong language and sex references. I think the only reason why it's given an 18 certificate by the BBFC is because of the porn elements in it.
What would you say is the boundary? Like, what's a film where you think that's on the boundary of being an 18 and a 15?
But isn't there a thing in Hollywood where you can... I think it's more in America. I don't know what the thing is over there, 15, 18.
Yeah.
It's like
it's R-rated.
R-rated. Yeah. Isn't it you can only use the word fuck once?
That's in a 12, in a PG.
Is it PG?
12,
is it R then M then...
Mature, yeah.
So,
R used to be X rating, so Taxi Driver got an X rating.
Yeah.
That means it can only be played after, I think it's midnight showings. So when they retracted that and they made the 18 certificate, which in Hollywood is a dead end. If you were given an 18 certificate for any horror film, you are essentially fucked. I mean, I think there was a film somewhere that I believe, I can't remember what it was, but it was an 18 certificate, and they fought for it, and they fought for it, and they fought for it. I believe it's Darren Aronofsky's Requiem for a Dream. Oh, yeah. And because of the double head, there's not a word of lie. The double-ended dildo scene where Jennifer Connelly is interacting with it, as you can imagine, that is purely given an 18 certificate for that. Darren Aronofsky reiterated that it has to be shown in the film because it has to show the desperation of a character.
Yeah.
And in the context of the film, it makes sense because she's at the lowest of the fucking low.
I think this is less of a negative about the film, more of a negative about the BBFC, though.
No, I wouldn't say that, though, because I don't think it has to be an 18. The porn elements of it, like, it's so, like film noir.
Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah.
But I think, like, that. I think that I don't understand why it's an 18. That's why not the negative of the Big Lebowski. I understand why it's played in there, because it's quite an interesting sort of plot element. I mean, there's very few we ever see in it.
I mean, there's a lot of criticism you can have about the BBFC in itself. Like,
I just don't understand why it's not a criticism. I just don't understand why it's an 18. It's the same rating.
I think when you look back at it,
Scarface, The Godfather. I mean, an 18 for the. I mean, I can't. That's just a death rating.
There's no sexual content really, but there's suggestions.
Whoa!
There's suggestions of it, but there's no.
There are porn elements in it. I think you've got to be very strict.
They show start of a porno.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
But I'm not.
But it's not a porn.
I think we have.
If you watched that without knowledge of what porn is, you wouldn't know it's necessarily.
Well, I think we have here answered our previous question. There's a reason why it didn't make money, and it was given the death rating of an 18 certificate. That's my interpretation of it.
That is, I think it's fair.
I mean, in America as well, they're very, very judgmental of a rating on it. So we'll go on for actual negatives now. I mean, I personally, I think that I think everyone's stellar in it. I love how like these little characters are there for little minutes. I think that can become as a negative, but I don't mind that. I think it's quite good.
This isn't necessarily negative for me, but the plot, I think they could do a lot more of that world. Like the world they're living in, I think you could put them into different situations, and I think as a plot, I think it's not like basic, but it's something some people might look for, because some people don't necessarily look for a film just for the characters. They look for a film because they want to see like this interesting story. It's not about, but this film isn't about an interesting story. It's about the characters who are in it. So maybe
you just contradicted yourself.
Yeah, and I have them. I'm not saying it's negative from my point because I can't think of any negative personally.
I disagree that they from your point that says that they could have done a lot more of this world, because they put these characters in real world situations. His gig gets his car stolen. He goes to the police, and then when he gets his car back, he goes like, "Are you going to find the people that do this?" And they go like, "Yeah, we've got 4 detectives on it." I mean, that's what people do. I mean, I disagree that you say that they didn't explore the world that much. They explored the world quite a lot.
I also agree. I think. But Dave just mentioned a point there of when And this is it's not negative, but I think it's a story element where it hits dead, and maybe that's intentional by the Coen brothers. But when they find the piece of work in the dude's car after it's been stolen, and we go on to what is probably the most iconic scenes in The Big Lebowski with John Goodman. You know, this is what it's like when you fuck a stranger in the ass.
Yeah.
When he, I think it's a Corvette, the red Corvette smashes up, which is then revealed to be an next door neighbour's car.
I think I saw that coming though.
Really?
Yeah, I saw that coming. When he started smashing it and he wasn't doing anything about it. But I saw that coming.
But then he never. But my point was that I think that scene doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't reveal anything.
It seems a bit more slapstick
I think it does.
than it does anything else.
It doesn't.
I think it does reveal
anything.
I do
doesn't
think
go
it
anywhere.
something.
We see a little bit more into John Goodman's temperament.
I think it does reveal something. I think it reveals that this whole film that you said about film noir, that they're detectives and all stuff, I think it shows that they're not as good at detectives as actual detectives. They go there and they start going they start questioning them and all that. And they go out and they bring crowbar and they smash it.
Okay.
I think that it's more of a character-driven reveal more than a plot reveal.
I will give you that.
Yeah,
I think to their credit, and that's an excellent explanation of it. I just felt personally, I think it derives from the plot. I think it just goes on a tangent. They hit a dead wall. They go to the In-N-Out Burger, and they continue.
I really like that In-N-Out Burger when it just cuts to them eating In-N-Out Burger, and you see Donnie in the back just so fucking happy with his burger.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
I have one more negative. I think that I don't like Bonner.
Donnie.
No, not Donner.
I was gonna say.
I don't.
I don't know my feelings.
What, you don't like the female in that? I can't remember. Is it Bonnie?
I can agree with that.
Bunny.
Bunny.
Yeah,
Bunny.
I just find that she just. I think that's.
She becomes this object, doesn't she?
Yeah, she's not a character. She's an object, and I think that the fact that actress, which my name, I think it's Terry.
Is that the when I was watching it, I couldn't name to face, but is it the person that was in American Pie? Yeah.
When a dude first sees her as well, like, he completely breaks his character, and it's not.
Because he doesn't do that to Julianne Moore's character.
No, he doesn't at all. He just goes over just like.
But then you could see
I don't believe that either, because he doesn't do anything until she says something.
But he kind of goes over to his like glasses, like very. He's been very.
Yeah, he goes over there and he just goes like. He's very taken back.
He's very taken back.
He's taken back by after she speaks, though.
No, he's taken back because he goes over there. He sees her.
But that's the point of the dude, isn't it? He does what he wants.
If you saw a girl sunbathing, would you go over to it and touch her toes?
No.
He didn't touch her toes.
Him to do that.
He didn't touch her toes.
But
she's painting her nose, and toes.
Yeah,
and puts her foot in his hands.
Yeah,
so your point though is that you said he's a dude he can go up to everyone once. Why doesn't he go down to the nihilist who's in the same predicament downstairs?
That's true. Yeah.
It's because she's hypersexualized. I'm not calling the Coen brothers sex or anything. I just think that whole plot device where it's such like where she comes in and she's really annoying, and I think there's better actors who could have played
You almost wonder whether they cast her in that role because of American Pie.
No, that you can't.
I think it
was American Pie like 1990, 2001, isn't it?
Oh, okay, never mind. Oh, it's completely ignore what I just said there, but
no, I agree with that. It's the same thing as what Francis Ford Coppola did in Dracula. He cast someone young, hot, and that used to who couldn't act. And it's Keanu Reeves playing.
I thought you liked Keanu Reeves.
I do really like Keanu Reeves, but he can't act. In that.
But you said he can't act.
He's a surfer. He's a surfer boy, and he's doing a British accent in it. He doesn't work. I mean, Winona Ryder is quite fabulous in that film, and that's another topic. Guy Oldman's fantastic. But I just think that it's a cast on. I think that it's cast basically on net worth. I think they're trying to cash in on a young blonde. I mean, that's not
something for everybody.
Yeah,
arguably. I'm not saying that as in like something for everybody. So let's.
I read that Charlize Theron auditioned for that role.
Really?
What an interesting career that would be, because she's in quite a few films that are quite like, well, this is out there. I mean, you look at Monster, for example.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen Charlize Theron take that role. I mean, to
be fair, her role wasn't huge in the film.
It was integral though.
It's more of a plot device.
It's more integral though.
Yeah, she was in like 2 or 3 scenes.
Remove Bonnie out of that film, you don't have the film.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but as you said earlier about
she's meant to be playing a stereotypically like sex object. Like that's what she is.
I think as you said earlier about the dude that no one, people could have played him. Anyone could have played that role. I could have played Bunny. Whip a wig on me, I could have played that role.
So for about 20 minutes you argued against me there.
No, we're talking about Bunny.
Yeah, we're talking about Bunny.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were about the dude. All right.
No, I can't. I mean, I probably could grow luscious hair like that, but I mean, a blonde in me.
That's what we're on about, though. That's exactly what we're on about.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Dave. Any more positives? What do you...
Positive? You mean negative?
Or negatives?
I can't think of any negatives.
I think
I loved
it's very stellar. What do you think about Sam Elliott's character then? The stranger who narrates the beginning, then narrates the end.
I didn't know what to think about that in the first couple of things. The third time, I kind of tried to think of like an interpretation of it, and even then, it was kind of like very like trying to read into it.
Yeah, it does work. It works as the narrator. He breaks the fourth wall at the end. Not needed. That just takes you out of the film completely.
That's the end of the film.
Yeah, but it still breaks the fourth wall.
Yeah, he's got a great moustache though.
Yeah, but Sammy is a cowboy.
Ferris Bueller Days Off breaks the fourth wall.
That's meant to do that though. Yeah, this film, we don't see any of that until the last 30 seconds. That's.
I guess you could see it as like he's introducing it as a story. So it's almost like, you know how I said earlier about how it's almost like a parallel universe to what we have. And it's very much.
But do you think it's a bit random? It's a bit random occurrence.
It is a bit of a random thing, but that's the Coen Brothers, isn't it?
Maybe it's because you are there, you are listening. Well, not listening, but you're experiencing a story that he's already experienced, and then at the end it just sort of goes like, right, that's done. Leave. You're done. Like Ferris Bueller's Day Off at like, the after credits thing.
I just think it's very
like, why are you still here?
Very abrupt.
It does. In some ways feel forced in, but at the same time, I personally kind of read it after my third watching. It might be completely stupid and complete shitty like analysis into it, but like I kind of saw it as like he's almost kind of like he's somebody. It's like a familiar voice. He's introducing us into this weird world.
Well, he's the audience's voice, isn't he?
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Like I kind of see that as almost like he's kind of like telling us to go to this world. Don't take it too seriously because it's not meant to be taken seriously. Because there's all these really weird characters.
But can we observe that ourselves without that? Yeah, we could do.
Honestly, I think we could do, but. I liked it personally. I thought it was quite like it's kind of like a beginning and end. It gave a bit more clarity to it.
Well, I think we should make just a last bit of a judgment on it. I think we should just make mention of what we overall we thought.
Yeah,
loved it. Yeah, I mean I've watched it before. It's like I'm saying that I've watched it for the first time, but I think every single viewing I watch, I enjoy it. I don't want to turn off halfway through because it can sometimes get to a point where you're sort of there like. What is going? Well, not what's going on. It's just that it needs to hurry up, or something along those lines. But I do enjoy it, and I would thoroughly recommend if you haven't watched it and you're listening to this, then watch it.
Well, why
are you listening to this and you haven't watched it?
Yeah, definitely watch it. Yeah. I mean, I completely agree with you. Like I was saying earlier in the podcast, I think honestly, as like a comedy, it's one of the best out there. Like it's because it's so unique in its comedy, and it's not. It's almost like the characters in their story. They don't. If you looked into their brains, you wouldn't be thinking they're trying to be funny. You'd be thinking they're just their characters, and that's what makes it so hilarious. Is that it's like you're looking through the looking glass, you're looking through these characters, and they're just going through the day-to-day lives. But it's so hilarious in the way it's written and their characters, their interactions with other people, like Jesus' character, like with Lebowski and the dudes and all of that. So, like, some of the ironic kind of scenes in it and some of like just normal scenes in it. There's a bit, and because of that, I think there's a bit of something for everybody. So I think it is one of those films that you can look back on it and you can keep on watching it, and it's so rewatchable because of that. Because it's so these interactions are just so hilarious. I think it's brilliant. I just really like it.
I adore it. I think that it's a wonderful character study of three people that are just so unique and interesting. I think that Coen Brothers are excellent directors. I think the script is excellent. I love the music to it. I love the way it goes. I love the story. I love that it's like this noir element to it. I love that Jeff Bridges is in it. I love that John Goodman's in it. I think Steve Buscemi is really good at it. I'm quite surprised that, not in retrospect, it's a hindsight's a wonderful thing, of course, but I think that How Jeff Bridges wasn't Oscar nominated for this, because they do Oscar nominate some complete shit sometimes. But there is one thing every time I watch it where I turn off, and that I don't like that Donnie dies. I don't like it. I think it detracts from everything that's built up. I think that it's a very cruel sort of thing to like give the audience, because you create this outlook that everything's going to be finished. And then at the end, when they finally beat this nihilist, and Donnie goes, and then obviously it gives way to this excellent scene at the funeral.
Hilarious.
Really, I think John Goodman, what he says, I think with his temperament, I think really well delivered, and how they hug, and at the end, and it's a very like it's a really nice scene. Overall, I think this is probably one of my favourite Coen Brothers films. I mean, it's up there. I mean, to the wacky, not so serious Coen Brothers-esque.
So, would you say it's your favourite of all time, or
Coen Brothers film?
Coen Brothers film?
No.
Yes.
Would you say you'd say that?
I
The reason I picked it.
What's your top three? Top three.
My top three Coen Brothers
Yeah,
films.
top three.
No Country for Old Men. I've yet to see that, I think. Big Lebowski. I'm gonna miss one of them, but there's so many good ones. I'm gonna have to say Barton Fink.
No,
I can't. Fargo.
Is he top?
My top three are the Big Lebowski, No Country for Old Men, Fargo. But I do love Barton Fink, and I do
Future
quite
podcast.
like.
Future podcast potentially.
Probably for like unearthed films that no one knows about.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've really enjoyed it.
What were you top three for you, Dave?
Big Lebowski, number 1.
Okay.
Number 2, again, like you, No Country for Old Men.
Yeah.
Number 3 is either Fargo or True Grit.
Oh, interesting.
Bearing in mind I've only seen 4 of them, it's probably not a good idea. But Inside
what's
Llewellyn
yours?
Davis is probably my favourite.
Really?
Personally.
You didn't pick that as your thing?
No.
I picked Where For Out There Brothers.
God, no one. I do like where.
You didn't even say Lady Killers.
No,
Your
it's
top
not.
three.
It's not a good film.
Why did you pick? That's the reason I won.
Because it's a really interesting film to watch. Because
That's the thing.
after watching that, I think you should watch The Lady Killers. I think you should see that. But I mean, to wrap up, I mean, for this to be a first film, I'm quite proud about. I think that it's gone really well.
I think we've made a big statement.
Yeah.
There's not much to say about them. I mean, it's like you'd think that there's not much you can really say that other people haven't said, but I think we've definitely got into it. And
It lives long in the memory, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's one of those.
Yeah.
Very, very, very quotable. And everyone knows about it. So yeah, thank you for watching the first ever episode of the Moviebusters podcast. And yeah, for the next week we'll be. Make sure to check our Twitter.
Yeah, check out Twitter because I'll release the next batch of episode 2. We've all got 3 films in mind. Well, 1 film in mind, haven't we?
Yeah, well,
And let's leave it for the Twitter.
Oh no, I'm not
Let's
going to mention
spoil it now.
I won't mention.
I've got
should we
a
mention the
doozy.
theme? At least?
I don't think
I
there
don't
is
think we
a
mentioned
the
theme.
theme.
We don't have a theme.
I thought
this week.
it was.
I've got a doozy of a film that I hope you guys put up. I don't want to say that it's going to win, but it will win. There's going to be a natural theme of this podcast that
Dave always wins.
I'm so sorry to interrupt this, but I've just got my number 1 cult film.
What is it?
Blade Runner.
Oh,
Is that
big statement?
I was about to say, is that a cult film? That's
Yeah.
a whole can of worms. So I think
Which might be a little bit.
It's a bit delayed. I think you googled it.
I think we'll talk about that in the Blade Runner podcast. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, thank you for everyone listening. I've really enjoyed it. Okay, mention our Twitters. You know.
Yeah. At Moviebusters, at the Moviebusters.
Yeah.
That's where you can go if you vote for your next film because there'll be 3 more choices again, and yeah, that'll be up Tuesday. No, not Tuesday.
I think it'll be probably tomorrow night. I think it'll be up
I
tonight.
think it'll be up Thursday.
Poll.
I think Thursday.
Well, we haven't decided completely what films we're doing yet.
It'll be up.
It'll be up
Yeah.
by the time you
The
watch
only way
this,
that you
it'll be
can
up.
know when it is up is if you follow us.
On Twitter. Yeah.
Right.
And that'll be in the description. So.
Yeah. Remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel, of course, to listen to more episodes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank
Bye,
you very much
guys.
for listening.
Cheers. Bye.